It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, who is Brett Morey from the Rotary Club of La Jolla Golden Triangle. He's a third generation California native and lives in Del Mar. He currently works for Total Power, which is a chemical engineering firm, and he's director of sales there. And he's been a Rotarian for almost 18 years. And like I mentioned, he's a past president and has received many awards through Rotary. And he will be sharing with us, his title topic is Growing the Family of Rotary Through Fellowship. Brett is the founder of the Surfers Unite Rotary Fellowship, which I am a new member. Thank you. And let's hear Brett. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, President Rick, for having me on, as well as Craig for lining this up. I'm going to toggle over real quick just so I can get to a little PowerPoint here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let's see. There we go. Okay, fantastic. Well, aloha, and thank you guys for being on. So stay tuned because it does get even more fun. I'm sure of it. As was mentioned, I did serve as youth chair for our district. I've also founded, University City High School Interact. Both of our kids are since graduated college, and we actually have a 2-year-old grandson. So definitely been around the block a time or two, let's say it that way. But my wife and I certainly enjoy Kauai. Of all the islands that we've been to, it is definitely our favorite. I would tell you that even with our friends from Oahu that are on this call. Again, one of the reasons I wanted to have this talk was just to think about ways that we can help energize our Rotary clubs, our Rotaract clubs, etc., and how we can use our passions and hobbies as a way to fuel the growth of our clubs. And so I'm going to talk to you about why Rotary Fellowships. I feel it's one of the best kept secrets in Rotary, and there are some others that maybe you've uncovered yourselves. I'd also like to know, when we get to the end of this too, I want to hear what Rotary Fellowships you may be a part of. I know Craig just recently joined. We're happy to have him on board, and as I mentioned earlier, to have the friendship and relationships I have with guys like Dr. Gary Schneiderman, who's on this call, as well as Chuck Preto. Both of them serve as big kahunas. Kind of getting us off the ground early on. But one member that wasn't able to join today is actually from Oahu. Her name is Darian Bailey Haynes. I'll talk to you a little bit about her. And she's from Oahu. And Sean Slentz, who passed along his hellos. Sean used to be in my Rotary Club years ago. His brother Michael still is in our Rotary Club. But Sean, as you guys know, serves as Assistant Governor for District 5000 and is one of our board members. So I thought about this is a way that we can involve our non-Rotarian friends and family. I'm sure you guys have invited people to your events, service events, and all that, but take a look at some of the Rotary fellowships that exist. I mean, you have everything from golf and scuba diving to, interest in dolls. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that's interested in dolls. There are a lot of different things. The LGBT association, there's a lot of different things where you can kind of tag on to, but it's also that other circle of influence, that sphere of influence that you have as Rotarians and Rotaractors to be able to involve people that are not yet involved in Rotary, but take their passions and harness it with the power of Rotary. And that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about. In 2002, we had moved around the country. I was a former American Honda Motor Company rep, so I had worked at corporate. Then I worked in the Southeast and then in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we really wanted to get connected in our community. And I thought, what a great way to honor my wife's late grandfather, who was Rotary president of Laguna Niguel. And so I joined Rotary in 2002. The rest is history. But every one of us has thought about these aha moments we've had along the way. And when you go to the Rotary.org site, you can take a picture of this one, /fellowships. I want you to take a look at what fellowships exist and definitely take a deeper dive into things that you already are interested in, maybe ways that you can involve people in that. Cycling, for example, has a huge following around the world. So there, if you're interested in starting your own fellowship, I call it the 7-step process of starting your own fellowship. Start with a 6-pack of Corona or some other beer perhaps, and add that with a fish taco. There you go. No, and all joking aside, if you are interested, talk to me offline. I'd be more than happy to help you take that energy and effort to create it. I looked at this as a great opportunity. As I said, I've been doing a lot of things for Rotary. When you're involved with high school kids, college students, etc., and then having our own kids was a way of taking that life of service and making it both fun and relevant to today's generation. And so I thought, well, why not do some of the things I was already doing over the years and now take it globally? And that's exactly what we're doing. So get on board and get connected with us. This is probably the best way that you can infuse youth into Rotary is through fellowships like ours or others that you're interested in. Surfers Unite, my vision for this from the very beginning was to turn and create champs in Rotary, right? Connecting each other as Rotarians around the world, hosting one another, as well as hosting events, attracting youth into Rotary, and creating mentorship opportunities. And I know that, Gary's had a chance to see that firsthand in some of our bonfire events. No, not a bonfire, it's a bonfire event where we have 85 to 100 high school students and a bunch of college students leading the games, that kind of stuff. And then, doing a paddle out, as Ron knows. Ron and I've been friends through Facebook for years and other things through Rotary. But, that paddle out to end polio that I had planned for the Rotary International Convention in Honolulu, yeah, unfortunately, COVID-19 derailed it. Doesn't mean we can't do it again at another venue. And it doesn't mean we can't do smaller type of events locally like that to help benefit the End Polio Now campaign, but also to make fighting polio relevant to today's generation of youth, right? Sharing the Aloha spirit, obviously every one of you guys do that every day, and I love your energy. So I really, my whole thought was, let's be as inclusive as possible. Yeah, beach enthusiasts, bodyboarders, body surfers, kite surfers, stand-up paddle boarders, windsurfers are all welcome. If it floats, it goes. And the entire, mechanics, if you will, of what I wanted to create was make it free for Rotaractors, Interactors, and Rotary Youth Exchange students. So Tom, I'm going to need your efforts to pass that message along to them. And it's generously supported through our Rotarians around the world. In fact, it's as cheap as $20 a year, or you can join for $150 and get some get as a lifetime member, or $500 as a big kahuna. So hope that is of interest, and you get some pretty sweet gear, which you can also buy on our store. Oh yeah. Wear that dry fit shirt around the island, you'll definitely get some comments on it, and it can create an opportunity for you to talk to folks about that. So take a look at that. Definitely follow our website, as well as take a look at our Facebook and Instagram pages. We have thousands of followers. And I just want to share a few of the things that we're doing so you're kind of more up to speed on this. And that is, I started in 2017 with this surfboard. It was a blank board. I landed in Atlanta, gathered 190 signatures, and started a Rotary Fellowship at the Rotary Convention. And from that, we now have over 900 members in 30 countries. We are doing events all around the world, which is a lot of fun. And I'd definitely like to get more of our Hawaiian ohana involved in that. One thing that I have found along the way is that, when you talk to high school and college or even young professionals, they're most interested in things like beach and river and shoreline type of cleanups. And so this is very universal. And certainly as the Garden Isle, you guys are really great at trying to preserve that aspect of your island. And at the same time, we all know that there are many opportunities to do this. And to do it in a combined effort that involves and embraces the volunteer aspects of other community folks and family and friends, as well as your fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, this is a way to kind of put that umbrella over it and say, hey, Surfers Unite's doing this event, come and join us, put it out there on social media, and then start working that connection aspect of, hey, you're in Kapa'a, why don't you talk with so-and-so over here, and making those introductions. So again, multiple club members, multiple generations, and an open invite to non-Rotarians. This is how we grow the family of Rotary, is not making our volunteer aspects so inclusive that, make it inclusive so that everybody else can join in the fun. And in fact, we did an event 2 years ago now, it's August of 2018, where a group of UCSD Rotaractors flew over to Oahu, were hosted by Rotarians, and did a beach cleanup at Eva, and then had a great time on a Learn to Surf event. So that's another really cool way that you can see the impact of this. I mean, when other would a Rotaractor, get on a plane and stay with a Rotarian without that fellowship aspect and friendship aspect? So really neat, volunteer opportunities. I wanted to share just a few of what we're doing now here on the mainland, but also talk about things that can be done or maybe being done with other organizations right there in Kauai, Oahu, et cetera. So the ISA World Para Surfing Championship, I was really hoping to have Darian on. She is actually on Team Hawaii. You'll see a picture of her in a little bit. And then we also have adaptive surfing events. So we do things a lot with Life Rolls On Foundation, if you're familiar with Jesse Billauer's organization. We also take, kids with autism surfing. We do a lot of different things. Learn to Surf events, those are always fun. Learn to Stand Up Paddleboard events, also very fun to do that in the bays and other things. So this ISA event is really where you got to put the focus of Rotary into, in my opinion. And I know that Gary and others have been great at helping out as volunteering over the years. Here we have 130 athletes. Some are missing limbs, some are paralyzed from the waist down, some have, various different things that they've overcome. But you have thousands of their family and friends from all over the world. We had 22 nations represented at this last ISA World Adaptive Surf Championship here in La Jolla. And this is, ISA is the kind of the crux behind putting surfing in the Olympics, which is really awesome, even if it will be delayed a year in Japan. But just to see these folks from all over the world, I go, where should Rotary be? Right here, right now. And having Rotarians, Rotaractors, Interactors volunteering for that event, it's really outstanding. And you can just see the passion that they have. This is Darian down in the right-hand corner, and she's on Team Hawaii, and she'll be joining the Rotaract Club of Coronado as well. We've also done a number of events with inner city kids. So again, just like in Hawaii, whatever island, it doesn't really matter. We sometimes have this assumption that everybody goes to the beach. Not everybody does. Not everybody has the equipment either. And certainly here on the mainland, to take these inner city kids in Southeast San Diego out of some kind of troubled neighborhoods and give them a day of joy and have them connect with others, Rotaractors, Interactors, et cetera, is a blast. And for me personally, to have friends like Damien Hobgood to share from their heart what surfing has meant to them and what they've been able to accomplish through it, it's really inspiring stories like that. And to have, again, SDSU Rotaractors and others involved, it's a blast. I also had a chance to have a buddy of mine, Brandon Benjamin. He's a South African champion, surfs with Rusty and others. Really amazing young guy. And to see him out there having fun with these kids and introducing them what Rotary is about. He sees Rotary projects of what's happened in South Africa growing up, but to see what we're doing here is really neat. We also do these huge music festivals. This one particularly is sponsored by the Switchfoot band. And we have 17,000 folks from around the world that come to this event. It's a really unique opportunity. We actually raised $220,000 for charity at this event. We're one of the event vendors, but we have Rotarians, Rotaractors, and Interactors all involved in that as volunteering for it. It's a surf contest event. You can see, the high school kids just having a blast. And that fundraising is all towards youth-oriented type of programs. But again, having some of the up-and-coming world surfers, you've got Alyssa Spencer out of Carlsbad. Rob Machado and I went to high school together. To have him with his foundation on clean water, there's a lot of parallels where we can kind of put the face of Rotary in front of it. And we've also come away with over 150 each year folks potentially interested in Rotary, Rotaract, or other clubs that we've been able to connect by being there in the involved. Now, can you imagine surf jousting with Ted and Rick actually out there with some sticks? I mean, wouldn't that be a great fundraiser for your club? I could definitely see that happening. But again, this is just a way to kind of make it fun and make it relevant. That's really what we've been able to do, and things I want to help inspire around the world. We did have for the last 7 years, this would have been our 8th year, we just had to cancel this event, which is the Rotary Music Camp Learn to Surf. So we bring in these internationally accomplished symphony musicians. They play for 3 weeks here in San Diego, and we take them out in the water, and it's a blast. You can tell by their smiles they're having a great time. And to walk away and say, hey, I went and surfed California I'm from Germany, Italy, whatever country. That's really fun. And to, connect them within the family of Rotary, because just because they came, they weren't necessarily in Interact or in Rotaract as 16 to 22-year-olds. And now to, kind of help funnel them into these opportunities, and we're doing that. So we've also done some unique things with the QS events, like the Supergirl Pro, where we have top women athletes. You guys know, of course, Bethany Hamilton from Kauai. To me, watching her interact with Carissa Moore, before their heat, and just having fun and realizing it's a 19, 20-year friendship of competing against each other. And it's just neat to see. And obviously, the up and coming women in surfing are just amazing. On the right, there was Samantha Sibley beating out Tatiana Weston Webb in the finals. 17-year-old girl out of San Clemente just killed it out there. And it's really fun to have that event, put Rotary in front of people that are there just to enjoy the sport of surfing, but also interact with world championship surfers as well. And then again, connect people. So life rolls on. This event I talked about, we have over 120 adaptive athletes at each of these events. There's a dozen of them. And so it's all over the mainland, but there's similar type organizations. And that's exactly what I want to uncover is, whether it's Australia, Hawaii, whatever it is, there are other foundations and other nonprofits that we could be putting the face of Rotary on by supporting it, and then bringing others in the surf community and make Rotarians and Rotaractors out of them, right? So check out our events page on this. This is a lot of fun. We take these folks out. This is one of my buddies from high school and college, and taking him, Leo's been paralyzed from the waist down since 1993, and taking him out for a day of celebration in the water. It's absolutely amazing. You can see the joy and what it takes to put on these events. It takes a lot of folks. And we're able to do this year after year because of the support that we get around. We've also been able to help support things like Boys and Men Mentoring. So another nonprofit where we raised over $400,000 last year for this organization here in San Diego, but there's similar type organizations, and they have other chapters around the world in over 33 countries. So here, these are meeting the needs of young teenage boys, middle school and high school, who are growing up without a positive male role model. So for us to go out there, 188 surfers, and raise over 400 grand, it's a blast. And then we also do things like Stand Up for the Cure for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Again, they have other events in your area, and that would be really key to kind of hone in on and how you could put your Rotary Club out there, out on the water, and having some fun for a great cause, and inviting family and friends who aren't in Rotary to be a part of it. So just wanted to share that. I do know that, Access Surf and possibly even Paskowitz Surf Camp do some pretty significant events in your area. But you are going to have a much better feel for it than I would over here, since you live there. And so, think about how you could combine these relevant events with the generations within the family of Rotary. And that's exactly what I wanted to share today is let's do that together. Let's make it successful, and let's help grow this family together. And I'll open it up for questions.
Thanks, Brett. Just a comment, if Ted and I did do the surf jousting, that would also be a 7-step program. There would be a 6-pack of Kona beer, and then the 7th step would be learn how to surf. Because we still need to do that part. So, yeah.
Right. Well, again, it would be another way for you to do a fundraising event. I mean, can you imagine people coming out in costume, using the news media, and making it a fun event for whatever charity you guys choose?
Yeah.
That would be really, really awesome. And that's exactly it.
Well, and I got to say, in addition to foundation information, I think you've got obviously some very good fundraising ideas, because the numbers you're talking about are so impressive for that as well. So Craig, you'll be teaching us how to surf. Is that what I'm understanding?
We'll get our founding member, John Black, involved, because he's a longtime surfer, not in the water lately, but
there you go.
He's a surfer at heart. So
cool.
There you go. Right. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And please, any other questions, feel free to ask.
I got a question, Brett.
Yeah, Craig.
So setting up your fellowship, were there any stumbling blocks or anything that you had to overcome?
Well, let's just put it this way. The folks in Evanston are focused on a lot of things that are very important to all of us. Fellowships may not be at the top. But, the neat thing is meeting the people that I've met around the world through this fellowship. Philip White is one of our big kahunas. He's a past district governor out of Cronulla, Australia. Bill tried to get this started 10 years ago, and he goes, we got shot down. I said, well, thanks for wearing them down, because it did take me 6 months to get it approved. But at the same time, it wasn't going to stop what we were doing one way or the other, right? So to have some fun with it, and also, use it as another tool if you can within the toolbox. So a way to make Rotary, that much more relevant to the 20 to 30-year-olds.
I got a question.
Yeah, great, Rod.
That surfboard in the back here with all the signatures, what's that about?
Yeah, so that was that rusty surfboard. I flew to Atlanta. It was a blank board, and I basically filled it with over 190 signatures in Atlanta at the Rotary convention. Kind of showing at Rotary, they didn't give me a booth. You kind of asked, hey, can I have a booth to get this fellowship started? Oh, sorry, those are all secured. Great, wonderful. I mean, obviously, now we had a booth in Toronto. We had a booth set up for the House of Fellowship, and we'll be in the virtual House of Fellowship as well. We're working on that right now. But we had that set up for Hawaii. But at the time of getting a fellowship started, they didn't give me the space. I stood in the hallways and gathered people. So what else are you going to do? We're all Rotarians. We make things happen every day.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rod.
I also very much agree that fellowships are a little known part of Rotary. I mean, Brenna, you commented a magician's fellowship, and they disappear all the time, but they keep coming back. So, there are tons of them out there. If you look, there's some there's a fellowship for playing noughts and crosses, which we call tic-tac-toe. I mean, there's a fellowship about that. But Ted is in the process of starting up a new fellowship. Do you want to chat about that briefly?
Yeah, tell me, Ted.
So I got drafted into a committee to help form a gin fellowship.
Great.
So we created a Facebook group, and we, in a matter of days, had over 220 people in the Facebook group as prospective members from about 20 different countries, which was pretty exciting. And we're working on the application now, and we hope to submit the application by the end of this month, actually.
So my question, Ted, is, are we talking gin as in a drink or gin as in cards?
This is the drinking gin.
Perfect. Well, I'll definitely need to connect you with Tony Grillo in my Rotary Club, who owns Malahat Spirits here in San Diego.
Cool, yeah. I do have a tactical question related to that. If you happen to know, the question has come up for our group about a bank account and receiving the funds, or do you use a, do you use a US based bank for that?
I'll communicate with you more offline just for that one.
Okay.
But they are very interesting as far as what Rotary is looking for is at least 5 members of your executive team to be from 5 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that made me laugh is I'm like, fine, my treasurer is from Kenya. And they're like, okay. I'm like, yeah, guess what? The bank account is Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you more about it, but we now are a 501c3 nonprofit. When we started, it was just a personal account dedicated for these funds, etc. But now it's a full-fledged 501c3, and it's a whole another layer of complexity that I never want, but it is what it is. So,
okay, yeah, I'll follow up with you. Thanks.
Sure, Ted. Great.
And does your cat have any questions?
Yeah, I think Brianna and Ron, we're all on that little Aloha Fun District 5000 thing that happened a few weeks ago. People started singing and playing guitars, and I'm like, well, I can strum a few chords, but I'm not going to sing for you guys. So. That was fun. You guys have some amazingly talented folks over there.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Other questions, thoughts, comments?
I got another question.
Yeah.
Surf question. So Brett, besides regular surfing, do you do windsurfing or stand-up paddle surf or anything like that?
Yeah, so my wife calls it an addiction. I call it a hobby. I have 23 boards here at the house. We do it all. Stand-up paddleboarding, mostly as a couple. It's kind of fun to do on the bay. Doing stand-up paddleboarding in the ocean is a whole lot harder. I mean, I have a whole lot more of appreciation, but I do shortboard and longboard. I did windsurfing years ago just for, just to go down and do it, but that's hard. I watch the people at Maui doing it, catching air and doing all this, and kite surfing, the same thing. It's an incredible level of skill set I don't have in upper body. But, if you can surf 100 waves in a day like we do for the 100 Wave Challenge for Boys to Men Mentoring, that takes a tremendous amount of fitness. And so it's 6.5, 7 hours of surfing. So you know what that consists of there. Yeah.
Impressive.
And go ahead, Jan. You had a question. Thanks, Craig, for your.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of CORE here on Kauai, K-O-R-E.
I have, and I was going to put them in the presentation, but their website hadn't been updated since 2013. So do you know more about them? Are they still active?
Yeah, Susie Woolway heads it up. I can get that information to you.
I would love to, Jan. It would be really great to, harness that, because what that shows me right there, honestly, is if their own website isn't updated, and I didn't look for social media, but it's like, I know that most 25-year-olds would be like, well, they don't exist. I'm gone.
Well, for those of you who don't know, it stands for Kauai Outdoor Recreation Experience. And once a month, they take people with special needs out surfing at Hanalei Bay. Of course, it's kind of on hold right now, but they have hundreds of people come. It's really a neat service.
Yeah, I would love to see your club and other clubs be able to be that volunteer organization that puts the boots on the ground. And I think that's the thing that's out there. I did want to also mention to you all too, before I forget, Access Hawaii, who supports a lot of the athletes that do compete for Team Hawaii on the parasurfing aspect too. They also have a web page. I'll send that link to your president to share on volunteer opportunities during COVID-19. So I think that's really smart on their part to say, here are some things you could do even from home, whether it's making masks, etc.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, I have a question. If you were talking to someone who was older and had never surfed in their life,
right, what
would you recommend they start with? Surfing, stand-up paddleboarding?
Well, I think, the key with all this is about people's limitations, right? I know that Chuck and I have had a conversation since he moved, him and his wife Kim moved down to the Mission Bay. It's like, you could go to the beach, you could go to the bay. Go to the bay. It's flat water. It's gonna be the easiest to stand up and get your balance and get your core strength. And for anybody, it doesn't matter your age. I mean, think about like golf to me is like surfing, right? You can do it at any age. You might do it easier at a younger age than you might at an older age, but you just work with it. And if you start with a 9-foot foamy board and then move down from that, is really the way you progress. And doesn't mean this is a 5'9" board. You're not going to do that at 65 years old. But you might be able to start with a 9-footer and then move down to a 7-foot board and just have fun with it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And boogie boarding also is welcome. Body surfing too.
Yeah. Any other questions? Oh.
Great. Well, thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see all your smiling faces. This is what Rotary is about, connecting the world now more than ever.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Brett.
Hey, want to do throw the shakas real quick? We'll get the screen capture.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
There we go.
Thanks,
all right.
guys. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks, Brett. And I will not ring the bell again. You don't need to hear that, but ding, ding, ding. But remember, Jen wants the bell. I could tell Jen wanted the bell. Hang on. Let me get to the bell. At least the sound of the bell. So we will see you all tomorrow for our first virtual Pauhana. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you.